Today on the channel, we take our beef to the hardwood with Irvin Magic Johnson and Larry Bird from McFarlane Toys.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another McFarlane Toys unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we're not talking DC characters, we're not talking Image and Spawn characters, Todd McFarlane. We're taking it to the hardwood. We're going to NBA style basketball figures, part of Todd's new baseball, football, I think, isn't there hockey too, Todd? Playing all the hits. It's part of his new sports line here as we're trying to fill the hole that DC is going to leave McFarlane Toys with some of the greatest superstars ever in sports. And that leads us today to the magician over here, the hick from French Lick, Larry Bird and Irvin Magic Johnson. But for all your McFarlane sport figure needs and a whole lot more, hit up jaystoysandgames.com. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal out there. You got both of these over there at Jay's. They have a bunch of these right now. These are really starting to hit from all the different properties we mentioned. Very, very fun, but not totally for me, Todd McFarlane. I was a big sports kid in the 80s and 90s when, I was a kid collecting baseball, football cards, basketball cards. And then my dad, being a huge starting lineups fan, we went all over searching every weekend, weeknights, trying to find the starting lineups, going to card shops, comic shops. We did it all back then. Some of the fondest memories you could ever have. And it is a little unfortunate here because dear old dad, yep, my dad, Todd McFarlane, he should be here for this unboxing, but he said he's too old for YouTube. That's what he told me. He's too old. The retirement sticks. I tried everything I could to get him out of retirement to unbox these two. He just wasn't going to have any of it. I figured if there was anything to bring him out of retirement, it could be Larry Bird, his favorite basketball player of all time. And when I was a kid in the 80s, as a little kid, my dad was always watching Celtics games. And of course, Celtics-Lakers was the big blood feud once upon a time. We were always Team Celtics around my dad's house, and I guess my house to this day and age. The evil Lakers, the beautiful, of course, Boston Celtics. It makes me really hope we can get a Danny Ainge, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Can we get a Bill Walton? Can we get some of those greats? Can we get DJ Dennis Johnson, maybe? What? You want to get James Worthy and Kareem and Kurt Rambis? You want to get them instead? Well, who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I was going to ask you that the other day, Tom McFarlane. Who is it? Robert Horry, that's a deep cut. You're a big Houston fan, apparently, huh? I guess so. I figured you'd go Olajuwon at that point. No? Oh, Robert Horry guy. He's a Horry guy right over there. In more ways than one. But it is unfortunate. I wish my dad was here for this one. But I did gift my dad these for his collection. I said, Dad, you might be trying to get out of action figures, but you need these two here. We need Larry Bird. You don't get a lot of Larry Bird figures. It's been a heck of a long time. I think my dad probably has all the Larry Bird figures. He's got Larry Bird statues. Obviously, the starting lineups and even the old McFarlane stuff once upon a time as well. But there wasn't a much bigger rivalry than these two. They always went together. They both, of course, college at the same time. And then my dad going to college around the same time and playing college basketball was in the mix. We'll say he was in the mix right there, of course. But it is what it is. We're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. We're going to go main event first. We're going to the hick from French Lick, of course. Indiana's own Larry Bird, one of the all-time greats, a trash talker, just a guy just lethal on the court, as we know. If he's got a mustache, watch out. If he doesn't have a mustache, watch out. And this one, sans mustache. And I don't know if you guys are like me. When I close my eyes and I think of Larry Bird, I probably do this daily, Todd McFarlane. I always think of that blonde push broom there, don't you? Do you guys think the same way, or do you think clean shaven? It's kind of like my dad. My dad hasn't had a mustache in like 28 years probably. But when I close my eyes and I think of my dad, it's him looking like a young Don Fry back in the 80s, or a Tom Selleck, of course, same name as we know. And a lot of people always said, oh, your dad looks just like Tom Selleck, and he was his doppelganger. If it was the internet age, he'd probably be doing Instagram videos as Tom Selleck back in the 80s. I think that's what my dad would have done instead of doing his career. But you never know. You can't turn back time unless you're, Cher? Is she the one that turns back time? I think she's the only one that can do that, I think. But this Larry Bird looking good, hitting stores right now. Like I said, Jay's Toys and Games. Got the peg up here on the J-hook. Looks like they're being slotted in over by the wrestling figures, which is a big move for old Todd McFarlane there, getting all the sports stuff together. Number 33 was always my number in Little League and high school and stuff for baseball, at least. Jose Canseco. We get sport picks: Canseco, McGuire, Terry Steinbach, Carney Lansford, Walt Weiss, Dave Stewart, Bob Welch, Tony La Russa, Dave Parker, Dave Henderson, Ron Hassey. Can we get any of them? Rick Aguilera, can we get him maybe? I'm here for all of it. Harold Baines? Sure, why not? I'll take Harold Baines. We'll take anybody from the A's. Hopefully we get some more, but number 33, always my favorite. Larry Bird. Does say Boston Celtics officially licensed on this one, which is pretty cool. You got the NBA logo up there. I forget, wasn't that like Pistol Pete Maravich or something, or Jerry West? I think that was based off of the NBA logo. On the back, what's it say? Larry Bird, 1979 to 1992. It was sad when he died in 1992, though, Todd McFarlane. It was a tearjerker if there ever was one. Maybe he just retired then, I think. It said, Larry Bird stands as one of the most complete players in basketball history. A 3-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA most valuable player, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. Bird combined elite skill, relentless competitiveness, and basketball intelligence at the highest level. Renowned for his shooting touch, vision, and clutch performances, he defined an era with the Boston Celtics and elevated the game on a global stage. Inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, Bird's legacy was one of brilliance, toughness, and championship pedigree. And it was really a magical time back in the 80s and early 90s. There wasn't as many TV stations and all that kind of stuff there is now. There was no internet, obviously. So when the game was on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday night, everybody was huddled around that TV seeing what old Larry Bird was up to once upon a time. So kudos to old Larry Bird. I'm here for it. Old Larry legend. Let's get him off the shelf or off the package, all that kind of fun stuff. See you later. Goodbye. I'm here for it. See you later. Goodbye. And a lot of people say, Kyle, you know, you're the Larry Bird of action figure collecting. I guess Matt Cardone is the Michael Jordan. Brian Myers says the Scottie Pippen. And I said, you know what? I'm the Larry Bird. So haven't mentioned that in a long time. But I think if the shoe fits, you wear it, of course. I know some people say I'm the Kobe or the LeBron, but I don't want to get caught up with those kind of guys. I'm more of the trash-talking Larry Bird style is what I am. So your mileage may vary, though. You can, you know, be whoever you want to be at the end of the day. I don't know. And you can be the Robert Horry of action figure designers, Todd McFarlane. That'd be a good one for you. Shout out to Robert Horry. See you later. Goodbye. All right, let's get down to business. Now, we know all about this. We get the NBA stand. It's like a McFarlane DC stand, but different. It's got the NBA on it right here. Very interesting to see that. I do like the inclusion of the basketball here. Got the NBA logo on the basketball. Very cool. This is great for reuse. You want to put this with your Marvel Legends. You want to have Gambit and Rogue shooting hoops out back. I guess they came with a ball, but you get the sentiment there. Looking very cool. Now, I've heard the hands have magnets in it. We're going to see if the power of magnets compels us here. Okay, I'm not feeling any magnet action in here. What am I missing? Oh, there it is. You just got to find the sweet spot, I guess. You know Larry, he's got that sweet touch. So you got that magnet goes right in there and it sticks. That's pretty darn cool. I think that's a pretty smart move with things like this. And if you're a kid like me in the 80s with starting lineups, you love starting lineups, but you'd be lying to yourself if you didn't say, you know, I would really like some of these lineups to be able to do things, have some articulation to do some stuff. These are kind of what we dreamed of once upon a time. So really cool to see that. Now, this isn't without its challenges, I guess we'll say. There's some people that say these are god-awful. I wouldn't go that far. Now, I'm not going to collect all these. I'll pick and choose. If there's some of my favorites, I'll grab a few here like Larry Bird and Magic. But I do think this looks like Larry Bird. Could it be better in the paint details? Of course, but it's mass-produced right here. But the hair looks very good. He is missing the push broom, I will say that. He's got that Larry Legend look, though, to his face. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 ears. Who could that be besides Larry Bird? But does look a lot like him there. I don't hate this head sculpt on this one. I know some people have been hating on it. I mean, for what you think of an action figure form, I think people want it to look like a statue or something like that. It's close enough to be dangerous. If somebody handed me this and said, who is this? And they said it's an NBA player, I could tell you it is Larry Bird. What? Detlef Schrempf? It could be Detlef Schrempf too. I guess I would say, well, it's either Detlef Schrempf or Larry Bird. That's what I would say. I would say between those two. But who knows? What? Tim Hardaway. I don't think it looks like Tim Hardaway. I don't know what you're smoking over there, but looking good here. Now you got the bare arms, obviously. You got the big open hands here. So you can do the palm of the basketball and you can put it in your face. And when I used to play my dad, we used to play prison rules out in the front yard in the driveway. He would always palm the basketball and he'd do one of these kind of things. He'd always put it, then he'd put it in your face and pull it back and he'd be like this and all over the place. And then next thing you know, sky hook, score. It was just unstoppable when you're only like 3.5 feet tall and he's 6'8". It's a hard game, but you learn to be tough out there. It prepared me for my stint in Oz Penitentiary once upon a time. And I took a lot of those life lessons my dad taught me out on the basketball court to my time in Oz, and I'm a better person for it. So the more you know, folks, the more you know. Celtics jersey number 33, rocking very hard, Bird 33. Could easily see a repaint wave where they put him in the white jersey. I think that's a layup across the board. Will people support that? I think they would. I'd buy another Larry Bird, but I could easily see that happening in the future. Got the NBA logo on the shorts down here. Got those high socks with the green looking very good. And then just like the starting lineups before him, I'm sure there's a lot of people going crazy about the shoes here. What did Larry wear? Converse Weapons, I think it was, or something like that. But they're not going to pay all of the money for all the licensing. You got the Bird license, you got the NBA license, then they're going to go try to get the Nike, Converse, Adidas, British Knights license, whatever it may be. They're just not going to do that. So not the end of the world to me. I'm sure somebody could make decals and stuff. You could paint these up. You could choose your own adventure. You got a nice base down here if need be. Now, arms on this one all the way around, a little squeaky. No butterfly. You do got a bicep cut. Double jointed, pinned elbow on this one. Yep, pinned elbows. Hands back and forth, side to side. Head back and forth, side to side. Waist articulation looking very good. The old Larry Legend splits. A hurdler once upon a time as well. What? Steeplechase? Maybe. Goes up for the big old boot like the Hulkster, of course. Single jointed knee, side to side, almost like Super Friends articulation. And then you get the ankles up and down, no side to side, no toe articulation. Why? Cost savings move because of the NBA logo. Okay, makes sense. Not a bad piece of business, though. Not going to be for everybody. I understand people's complaints, but when you're only spending around $20 on these kind of things, I think this feels pretty good. Now, maybe he could up the game to $29.99 and pay an extra $10 per figure for some licensing and stuff, maybe a little bit better paint. I don't know. Will anybody buy at that price point? So it's one of those things. The hardcore fan base, maybe there's very few of those. It's the vocal minority, as we always say. And they might be after something like this and say, get a price point higher. And I'm sure there's people saying these should look way better for $20. You can't fight City Hall. You can't change the world out there, I guess what I'm saying. But I do like this Larry Bird. Maybe I got my Larry Bird goggles on, but for what I'm looking for here, perfect price point, perfect figure. Well, perfect. It's missing the mustache, of course, but looks pretty good. But now we turn our attention over to Earvin Magic Johnson. I'll never forget coming home from school in like 3rd grade, and Magic was on the news, and Magic had the HIV, Todd. And I think he still has HIV. I don't know if it ever went to AIDS. I think South Park did a documentary on it where he was like ingesting like money into his veins. That's how he was actually fighting off the AIDS virus. And didn't they say he was like totally clean and clear or something? Didn't he like transfer all of his blood or something like Keith Richards? I don't know, but he let a whole generation know all about HIV and AIDS. And my friend Jesse Ventura, a lot of Todd McFarlane talk here today, but they're Todd's toys, of course. My friend Jesse Ventura told me that the whole AIDS thing was a conspiracy that was started. It was a whole thing. I kind of lost track when he was giving me the whole readout on that. But it was a wild conspiracy, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Jesse Ventura. But you got Magic here doing magic things. He's the Magic Man, but I always called him Irvin. I don't know about you guys, but we got Magic here, number 32, Magic Johnson, Legend Series, Lakers. On the back, let's see the story about, of course, Magic Johnson. Earvin Magic Johnson is one of the most transformative players in NBA history, a 5-time NBA champion, 3-time most valuable player, and 12-time NBA All-Star. Magic revolutionized the point guard position with his size, vision, and flair, like a young Rick, I think, if I'm not mistaken. As the engine of the legendary Showtime Lakers, he redefined fast-paced basketball and brought global appeal to the game. Inducted in the National Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, Magic's legacy endures as a symbol of innovation, leadership, and joy in competition. I think he owns a bunch of movie theaters now, if I'm not mistaken. Old Magic, he gets around. There's no doubt about it. See you later. Goodbye. I wonder what Cookie's up to. I'll never forget that when he had that press conference. See you later. Goodbye. And his wife Cookie was there. And I never heard anybody named Cookie before, outside of, what was the cartoon with the guy named Cookie? Yeah, you know what I mean. But I was like, that's weird. That lady's name's Cookie. And then I didn't even think, like, his name's Magic. It's Magic and Cookie. What a relationship that had to have been. And I'm sure he had had to do some explaining. See you later. To Cookie once upon a time. But you know what they say, money cures everything in a lot of ways. Cookie wasn't going to leave his side because she saw the dollars flowing through. That's just my guess. I don't know. Allegedly, is that what they say? Allegedly? Maybe. But Magic was a good guy. You know, he just had a couple of nights of indiscretion or something. I don't know. Nothing but trouble. That's why I was always a Larry Bird guy. See you later. Goodbye. I don't know. But what? Larry's wife's name is Cream. Cookies and Cream? That's funny. That's a good joke. I don't know if that one landed, Todd McFarlane. But we've got the NBA stand. Seen it before. We'll see it again. Let's see what Magic Johnson's up to here. Magic not quite as good here. Not quite as good. It's funny as Magic almost looks like an old-timey painting. Like an old-timey painting of Magic Johnson is what it looks like to me. I don't know. I don't know if I would guess Magic Johnson. There's hallmarks of Magic there, but it might take me a few guesses where I could guess Larry right off the bat on this one. No doubt Larry's got the better head sculpt of the two, but I guess looks a little bit like Magic, just a little bit. Got the smiling face, 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth, bald head on old Magic. Got the bare arms, got the Lakers jersey, number 32. Got the white socks going there. Johnson, 32 on the back. The purple and yellow attack, of course, Showtime once again, not just for Batman anymore. You got the white shoes down here, once again, very plain. Do it yourself, I guess what you're going to have to end up doing. Arms all the way around on Magic, bicep cut, double jointed, pinned elbows, hands back and forth, side to side. Got those big open palms once again, so he can hit the basketball. You got magnets in both hands as well to make note of, like that. Head up, down, back, forth, side to side. Waist articulation. Magic splits if you need it. He can even do a side kick like a young Jonathan Brandis. Showtime, Chuck Norris style is what he'd say. Leg goes up for the big boot. Single jointed knee, side to side. Pin knee on this one. Ankles up and down, back and forth. And as usual, no toe articulation here. Are these the exact same body, just reused too? I wouldn't be shocked. Kind of look to be almost the same body on these. Yeah, they're a little different, I guess. Just a little different. A lot of reuse, as you can imagine, with NBA players, baseball players. They're going to get the most out of their molds. I don't think I've seen a checklist for all the different basketball players they've made, but I would assume they have to make some guys that are really tall. There's going to be a couple of the Tim Hardaways out there that aren't the Giants, of course, we mentioned earlier, but then you get the Sean Bradleys or the Manute Bowles of the world on the line, and all of a sudden you got to have some Giants. What? Mark Eaton? That'd be a good one. Give me those Utah Jazz legends. Give me Stockton, Karl Malone. Give me Mark Eaton. I'm here for all those guys. We'll see, but it'd be interesting to see some different sized players, or are they all going to be kind of generically the same height? I don't know. I think Larry Bird was like 6'9". It wasn't Magic about 6'9" too? 6'8", 6'9", right in the wheelhouse of my dad, but they're identical in height here today. But Johnson versus Bird. And I remember as a kid, I had it was the regular Nintendo game when I was a kid. It was Jordan versus Bird. I love that game. That was a fun game. A lot of people didn't like it. It took a little getting used to, but once you were there, I love doing the slam dunk and the 3-point contest and the one-on-one in it. But I remember as a kid saying, why is it Jordan versus Bird? It should be Magic versus Bird is what I wanted to see. But, Michael Jordan was running hot in there. Not sure if we'll ever see a Michael Jordan 2. That's a little harder license to get. I don't think you're going to get that, Todd. Never say never. All right, that's what we say, Todd. Never say never. But Bird and Johnson are here today, and I'm here for it. No idea where this is going in my collection. This might be one of those office desk display pieces, I think is what I'm going to end up doing with this one here. But it is fun for what it is. A very cheap price point. I'm not all in. I'm going to pick just a couple of guys I like here and there. I like the magnet action on the basketball. For what it is, not a bad piece of business. And you can go to Jay's, save yourself 15% on these right now. Tell them Kyle sent you. And I guess putting in the code will tell them Kyle sent you. But a fun one here today. Would have been a lot funner if my dad was here. This would have been a 2-hour-long video, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. He was busy. He had to water the grass, I think is what he had to do. But either way, Magic versus Bird once again rides on here in 2026. But what's your thoughts on these two? What's your thoughts on this line? You going to pick up any of these? What sports you looking after? Who do you need? Who do you want? Do you want the Bash Brothers like me? Is that what you want to see? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to this very YouTube channel. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you, of course. Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, your best way to support the channel and all the content. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and The Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com, which is the name of my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, available wherever podcasts are found, with videocast on YouTube. So for a little sports McFarlane action today, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
AJ, Big Justice, I heard the good news. You're coming out of retirement. Good for you. You're not the only one, though, that's coming out of retirement, as I got somebody. He's 6'8", and as they say, you can't teach that. My dad, And we're challenging you at AEW Collision October 26th to a chicken bake on a pole match. We're going to bring the Doom to you.
See you later!